Hello everyone, Hater here, and welcome back to my beginner's guide for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. This is part 2. In the last episode, we ended up wrapping out the first real mini-boss after kind of the introduction section, which was General Kawahara. And we also ended up talking to Emma, and we used up our first gourd seed to get a new healing gourd. We also ended up talking to the sculptor, and we got our first prosthetic tool as well. So we're about to progress, but I will say that I generally like to do a little bit of farming as we kind of resume the game. So I usually, as I finish up one area, I'll keep going through that area as I get farther into the area. So it shouldn't take us very long to do. So here they're introducing the stealth death blow, which you can do by dropping onto an enemy. Again, I showed y'all that earlier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and climb up here. We'll kill that guy. We're gonna climb up here. Pop up here. Okay. So that gets me one of the things I wanted us to get. So we have just obtained a skill point. So now that we have obtained a skill point, I'm going to homeward idle back to the dilapidated temple. Once you get your first skill point, you can go talk to the sculptor, and he will give you the first of the texts that's going to be used for gaining new abilities.
What seems to take? What shouldn't the cook whether should know?
Okay. So now what we are going to do is we're going to sit at the idle and talk about kind of our progression path for the moment. If we go look at the acquire skills page, we have right now shinobi arts, and as we progress through the game, we will get additional art types. So there are going to be times whenever I might have you wait on getting something because I have plans on you getting something later. Because there are a lot of cool abilities that you can gain, but a lot of them don't have utility beyond very specific circumstances. So I am going to prioritize which abilities that you're really going to want to get. And really the first ability that I recommend generally is the Makiri counter. It allows us to counter thrust attacks. Because normally we can deflect them, but the deflection timing is really tight. But a Makiri counter, on the other hand, will allow us to inflict a bunch of posture damage on the enemy, as well as stop the actual thrust attack too. So I'm going to recommend getting the Makiri counter, and once we have enough skill points to be able to buy that, I'll actually do some demonstrations of it and kind of show you the utility of it. Okay, so I'm going to rinse repeat. That didn't take very long to get us that. So again, you can kind of tackle these areas however you want. I normally end up stealthing this area until I feel like I'm doing good on the game. Okay, so other than the dogs, we've basically tackled everything leading back up to Kawarada. I'll go ahead and tackle the dogs real quick. Okay, so this is where we fought General Kawarada. We're going to go ahead and climb up here. And what I usually like to do is I get up here, I'm going to drop and kill this guy. I'm going to get into here. Kill this guy. Get behind him. Kill that guy. And I'm going to kill that guy. So, we now have this guy to deal with. And I'm going to let myself die. Because this is an opportunity to teach you about resurrection.
Loyal wolf, take my blood and live again.
So, we can resurrect after that first kind of cutscene by pressing right bumper. And now we can actually get behind an enemy because all the enemies that are around you that were alerted generally will begin walking away. This enemy, by the way, is a real pain to deal with at this phase of the game, so I don't generally recommend doing anything other than either stealthing them or do something like this and kind of plan for a resurrection based around you trying to kill one of these enemies. Anyway, we'll go ahead and kill this guy now. And we got a couple more enemies here. So we just got a Mibu Possession Balloon. Once I deal with these enemies, we'll talk about that. So this guy is more of the same. We've already dealt with this kind before. This guy, on the other hand, he's a little bit more careful. He will kind of just keep swinging, though. So his secret, though, is these guys do not like thrust attacks. So there's another enemy I'm going to kill right here by dropping off on top of him. And now we have killed kind of all the enemies in this little section here. So I'm going to come up here, grab a ceramic shard. In addition, on the roof here, there is a coin purse. Behind here, there is a Mibu Balloon of Wealth. So we've now gotten 2 of these Mibu Balloons. Let's go ahead and talk about them. So the Mibu Balloons basically give you a temporary boost in drop rate on various things. So for wealth, it's going to be for money. For Mibu Possession Balloons, it's going to be for having a higher chance of obtaining items. So whenever we are doing farming, for example, in this game, these are going to be items that we can use, and we can also use them both at the same time. So we can pop one, pop the other, and we'll have the gains of both. So definitely really useful whenever you're going to do some farming. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and head down here. Before we talk to her, there are some of these things I'm going to kill. And underneath here, if you break this open, we have more coin purses. So we're going to talk to this woman.
I am not.
You can tell her whatever you want. And she's going to give you a Young Lord's Bell Charm. We'll be using this actually in front of the Buddha next to the sculptor here in a few minutes. Come over here, talk to this guy. This is an Inosuke. This is her son. These are people who you will end up meeting basically in kind of a flashback. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to kill this guy. Now, if you are lucky, you will not incite this guy over here. This guy has basically a cannon, and he can shoot very long distances. What we want to aim to do is to get behind him. So I'm going to go ahead and climb up here. I am skipping some items right now. Don't worry, we're going to come back to get them here in a moment. So I'm going to climb up here. And you'll notice that this particular symbol is different from... Where's another one? From that one. This one means that you cannot grapple to the tree. You're going to basically be launched in the direction. Be careful with these, by the way, because they can definitely jettison you off a cliff. This one, though, will get us where we want to go. And I'm going to sneak up behind these guys. So this would be the best way to deal with them. However, I am going to go ahead and show you how to kill him. So he does that attack. It leaves him vulnerable for a long time. And he keeps kind of repeating it, though he'll occasionally try to shoot the ground. He's very much not willing to allow you to kill him without trying to take you with him. So make sure you kill him before he starts shooting his cannon at the ground. Anyway, so we got black gunpowder. This is the only time that you're going to get this from this particular enemy. So this is basically an upgrade material. We don't yet have the ability to upgrade our prosthetics, but we will a little bit later. Next, we're going to drop off here, and I'm going to kill this guy. Okay, so now we have gotten all of the items. We need to go on kind of a collection spree now, because there's a few items that we have missed. And I purposely had us skip one of these items because I wanted to make sure we didn't get pelted by that rocket guy. So we're going to climb back up here. This is where we fought the General Kawarada in the last episode. And off the ledge here, you can basically see that there is a drop there. So we're going to drop down. You will take some damage going down. And we get a bundled Jizo statue. So bundled Jizo statues allow us to increase our ability to resurrect by 1. Not permanently, mind you, but it will allow you to regain your resurrective ability. I often use these during bosses whenever I've been struggling with a boss. So, for example, the final boss, I think in my Let's Play I used one, and then I think against the Demon of Hatred I also used one too. So, beyond that though, I don't recommend generally popping these because they are expensive, hard to come by. You should definitely use them extremely sparingly. Basically, whenever you're in a clutch moment and you need resurrective power to get you over a hurdle of a particular boss. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and grapple this. We got some Gachin's sugar. So, up to this point, we've gotten Akko's sugar and Ungo's sugar. This one, however, is going to make us harder to detect. So, this makes it easier to do some stealth death blows against certain bosses. In fact, one of the mini-bosses, the Chained Ogre, we're actually going to make use of this for that particular boss. Or mini-boss, I should say. Anyway, now we're going to go ahead and jump over here. So now we are kind of overlooking this area that we were just in. And right here, we have a pellet. And then off the ledge here, we have some stuff that we can get. So grapple over here, jump off to the side here. We're going to grab a Miibu Possession Balloon, another Miibu Possession Balloon, as well as some more of these Spirit Emblems. So those are going to allow us to use more and more of our, our prosthetics. So here's one of those things that's going to launch us. That'll get us right over there, so we'll go ahead and grab that. Scrap iron, more upgrade materials. And a snake skin. Taste of things to come. So I'm going to go ahead and grapple up. We're going to jump over here. And we're going to hug the wall. So I'm going to climb up here. And I'm going to drop off to the left-hand side. We got another one of these things here. There's also a remnant. Basically just a storytelling mechanism. You can see a memory of other characters in the game. This one happens to be Kuro talking to Emma. Coming over here, talk to this guy.
What? I was like the only problem. So, and it's what do you?
Now you don't have to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and do the traditional stuff as if this is the first time I'm playing this game. So we'll purchase his information. He'll tell us some details. And then I'm going to go ahead and purchase some additional information.
I'll buy some.
And this is going to give us information on gaining access to the flame barrel at Hirata Estate. We'll be heading over there here in a few minutes.
A fire shooting. Okay.
So this guy is going to be someone that we're going to come back to a bunch of times. He is going to be a vendor eventually, so definitely come back to him whenever you want to buy stuff. So next we're going to come over here. Grab another pellet. Got another eavesdrop opportunity. I prefer killing this guy first. And that is our mini-boss. However, we're not going to fight him yet. We're actually going to be heading back to the Hirata Estate. However, we're going to go get us a... what do you call it? A save point. Or Sulphur's Idol real quick first. So come over here. We're going to grab this. So, we need 500 to buy something. I've got 439. I'm going to go ahead and use one of my coin purses for this. So I'm going to show you where the other vendor is. So you can kind of see that little, I guess, tent over there. We need to get on top of that. So I'm going to clear out this guy. And, you know, killing these guys, I might have gotten lucky and not had to use the item that I used. Oh well. Okay. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and climb up here.
Glad to purchase an offer. Indeed. Go.
So I'm going to purchase Robert's Firecrackers. And then I'll go ahead and purchase whatever I can to make myself basically, you know, not have much money on me. So it's worth mentioning, any items that you're buying from a vendor that have a count next to them, that means they only have a limited number of those items that you can buy from them. So I almost always am going to prioritize those items over any other item. I want to basically collect all of the hard-to-find items that you can't get a lot of. So I'll go ahead and buy 2 Ungo Sugars. That reduces me to 1. And in which case, the next time I come back through to talk to him, I'll probably buy pellets, antidote powders, light coin purses, and so forth.
Don't use that true.
Alright, so this is going to give us a prosthetic, but we are going to have to go visit the sculptor first. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to the sculptor. We can also talk to Emma, let her know that we died.
Yeah, well, yes.
Like what?
I did it.
So that it's those and let me.
I can.
You know,
That
no.
I think it.
So we'll go ahead and fit a new Shinobi prosthetic. And now we got the firecrackers.
If you want to believe.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and equip the firecrackers. We're not going to be using them for a little while, but I am going to go ahead and equip them. Because we're actually going to head over, before we tackle the Chained Ogre, we're going to head over to the Hirata estate to grab a couple of things that will make the fight against that mini-boss a little bit easier. So go ahead and pray in front of the Hirata estate with the bell, and you're going to be taken back 3 years. You kind of get to experience what led up to this point. So we got a pellet behind the idol here. We can also now teleport here anytime we want. In addition, I now have 2 of my skill points, so I'll go ahead and purchase the Makiri counter. It'll be a little while before we use it, but nice to already have. And then we're going to drop off here. I don't recommend dropping all the way to the ground because you will take a little bit of fall damage. Come over here for a fistful of ash. And then talk to this guy. Communicate with them. And then he's going to die. Next, I usually like to make the jump towards that item, so I'm going to jump right here. If you miss the item, that's fine. So we got dowsing powder. Dowsing powder is useful for dealing with burn buildup. So this is going to end up decreasing burn buildup, increases burn resistance, and reduces damage from incoming burn attacks. Basically, if you're hit with fire a few times, that'll be useful for dealing with burn. So you'll see a bar that builds up on you as that happens. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and kill the enemies that are kind of out here real quick. So we got oil now. Oil allows us to light enemies on fire. It's going to be one of the items that we want to have for the Chained Ogre. We also got some dogs to deal with. So that's one way you can deal with dogs. Another way is to hit them with your shurikens. I tend to do that a lot whenever I'm on roofs. Alright, so we got those enemies killed. Before we progress into there, we're going to do a couple of things out here first. For one thing, there's another dog here, so we're going to kill him. And then we're going to kill this guy. So come over here, collect the Mibu Possession Balloon. And then we're going to head back up. We're going to head back over to the bridge. And we're going to drop off the side here for a treasure carp scale. Treasure carp scales can be used to trade to a guy that we're about to meet. There's actually two guys that you can trade stuff to. We can get more of them by finding them. You can also find carp in the water. So we'll kill that one. Carp usually also are underwater. We don't have the ability yet to dive into the water. We will much later in the game. But there are 2 of them that are on the surface that we can kill. So I'm going to go ahead and kill them both. And then we can talk to this guy. So you can trade them. I recommend getting the Withered Red Gourd. The Red Gourd allows us to reduce burn buildup. However, it will not cure the burn status that we already have. So you want to use this in prep for dealing with enemies that are going to hit you with fire. And then you can buy the Divine Grass if you want to. I'll go ahead and buy it, I guess. Because we will have enough of the carp scales by the end of the game to buy everything, and still have a couple left over. So we're going to go ahead and buy the Divine Grass too. Later we'll come back for the Floating Passage text. The Floating Passage text gives you an ability that Genichiro actually makes use of, while the mask that we can make from the 3 fragments that we can obtain allow you to trade 5 skill points for attack power. Not really useful for right now. But we'll talk more about that as we get those items later. For now, though, we're going to come up here, grab another light coin purse. And now we're going to kind of enter the Hirata estate proper. Got more ceramic shards. Now you can deal with these enemies any way you want. The way I tend to do it, though, is I'm going to kill this guy first. And then I'm going to run past these 2 and kill the guy with the bow and arrow, who's a little farther away. That'll put me around the corner so I can avoid this guy. And then I can tackle this guy last. So again, I almost always recommend going after the guys with bows first, because they will definitely interrupt you. And then over here we have another spirit emblem. And another Ungo sugar. And then we're going to climb out of here. And now we are where we just were. I'm going to climb up here. I'm going to jump on top of this building, and we'll see that we have a few enemies here. So we have this guy here. He is a bow wielder. This guy on the right is kind of the normal enemy. He likes to throw sand in your eyes. He also can hit you with the fire. This guy has an axe. These guys, in my opinion, are the toughest of these 3 to kill, so I usually like to stealth kill these guys first. Then I'm going to kill this guy in front of me. And then this guy. And there's actually another guy in here. Sometimes he won't be alerted. So we got another pellet to get. And then back here we have another Akko sugar. So, up here there are a couple of enemies. I'm going to recommend you kill this guy from afar. 3 should do it. And then we're going to come over here. Wait for these guys to come around the corner. So we want to try to kill the dogs first, is usually what I recommend doing. So there's another dog right there. And I'm gonna kill this guy. He's drunk, so it should be pretty easy to deal with. I'll come back to kill that guy here in a moment. We got a guy who's also drunk over here. We'll kill him next. So now we have a group of enemies here.
Look at it burn. Whoever called this a fire-breathing barrel wasn't kidding.
So,
I can feel my spirits lifting already.
which one you want to kill is kind of up to you. I'm going to kill this one first, though. Okay, so once you kill all these enemies, got a few items to grab. Oh. There's another enemy? Oh yeah, there is. Okay. So, got a few items out here. We got some more dowsing powder. Right here we have the flame barrel. This is going to be a shinobi prosthetic. This is actually what we want to use against the chained ogre. We have a Mibu balloon of wealth. We have a pellet. Walk over here a little bit, and you're going to see some of these basically in the building. And then, in addition, back behind here, we have some Fistful of Ash. Again, I don't normally use them, but you can use them to throw them at enemies and distract them. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and continue. There's usually an enemy around here if he didn't hear us. Again, just attack through his swings and you should be fine. You talk to that guy if you want to. So we're going to head over here. We're going to pick up this item, and we're also going to open up the door. So I just got a Gokon Sugar. Gokon Sugar is going to be useful for reducing posture damage taken for a period of time. So if you're dealing with an enemy who happens to be hitting you with attacks that deal a lot of posture damage, you can make use of that against them. Otherwise, we're going to open up this. This is actually going to give us a route back to the Sculptor's Idol. So if you need to, you can take this back to the Sculptor's Idol. I'm okay, though. I'm going to go ahead and continue. So a couple of enemies here. There's also an enemy who is usually here. He may be inside. Well, it's okay.
We burning this temple next fall? No, but we don't. Please.
All right, so I'm gonna kill this guy first. Okay, there he is. Come over here for another light coin purse. And then inside here we have something we're going to need for actually progressing this area, which is the Shinobi Axe. So this allows us to break enemies' guard. It also allows us to break enemies' shields if they happen to have like wooden shields, for example. We'll have to take it back to the sculptor in order to convert it into a Shinobi prosthetic. So, now I'm going to come over here. On top of this building is another light coin purse. Got some Ungo sugar. More of these things. And we got another pellet. So next we're going to come over here. This is Ayanama, who we met earlier.
Good sir. Good sir. Well, keep. Oh, well, that's what.
So you can talk to him.
It was. That's what.
Anyway, we're going to climb up here, and this is another kind of an item off the beaten path, which is another bundled Jizo statue. So again, allows us to resurrect another time. Another eavesdrop opportunity here. Again, this guy I don't like because he has the axe. I'm going to go ahead and kill him first. And then we're going to come over here, and there are 3 points of interest. This one will give you antidote powder. This one is an eavesdrop opportunity. And this one over here is a jerk.
You.
Yeah.
Who will tell me the time?
Okay, so that actually completes this area. The next section of this place actually requires us to have the shinobi axe to really deal with these enemies. You notice the enemies up there have a wooden shield. So we're going to go ahead and head back. And then we're going to actually go tackle the chained ogre. So we're going to head to the dilapidated temple first. We're going to go ahead and give the shinobi prosthetics to the sculptor to allow us to equip them.
So, was that what? There is the what that and that. The shinobi appear.
What is it?
It like it. I had, but it another up.
Alright, so now we have the ability to equip more. We're going to actually be using the Flame Vent as well as the Shinobi Firecracker against this next boss, or mini-boss I should say. And then we're also going to want to use the oil that we collected as well. So I'm going to go ahead and travel over to the Ashina outskirts, back to the stairway. And any money that I've collected, I'm going to go ahead and spend, because this, I would say, is an enemy that the first time you fight it will probably kill you. So just forewarning there. So I'm going to spend the 630-ish that I have. So I'll buy some light coin purses. I guess a pellet with the rest should be fine.
By the way, I'm thinking. I mean, you know, what is you?
Alright, and now we're going to go ahead and deal with the mini-boss. So we're going to kill these 2 guys first. And before we head up there, what we want to do is we want to equip, or we want to use a Gatchin Sugar, because we can actually use this in order to stealth the mini-boss, at least one of their health bars. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. This will make us hard to see. And then we can get up kind of to his side here, and you'll see the symbol that will change. Okay, so let's talk about what this guy does. He kicks. That's a grab attack. You do not want to be hit by that. And whenever he does the grab attack, you can actually do a leap like that. Now, later we'll be able to get an ability that allows you to complete basically 2 attacks while you're doing a grapple like that. In fact, I usually recommend getting that before we tackle the next real boss. Otherwise, though, again, he likes to do that over and over and over. He tends to like to do a double foot kick. You can, as you can see, parry that or deflect that. You can also block it, of course, but parrying is always better. That, he'll pound the ground. You can dodge out of the way of that. I recommend just staying away from his front if you can, though. Sometimes you'll get hit by that kick if you're not careful, by the way, so try to avoid not being anywhere near him when he does the kick. Otherwise, remember that every attack in this game, other than the perilous attacks, can actually be deflected. So all of these attacks can be deflected if you're good. All right, so let's talk about what we're gonna do here. First things first, we're gonna hit him with oil. We're going to use the flame vent on him. We can get him some swings. He'll be staggered by that. Or countered, staggered by that. And then we can also stagger him with firecrackers as well. So, we're basically going to use a combination of those two things in order to get this guy dead real quick. So, first things first, oil. Fire. And that's because red-eyed enemies do not like fire. And then that should do it. As a reward, we're going to get another prayer bead. And we're also going to get Shinobi Medicine rank 1. So this is going to allow us to increase the potency of our medicines. So the final thing I'm going to do before we kind of wrap up this episode is talk about the Makiri counter. So I talked about perilous attacks a little bit in the last episode, and perilous attacks come in a few different varieties. There's grab attacks. Grab attacks do not have a counter. You must dodge them. Thrust attacks, however, like this guy's, you can do a Makiri counter, and that allows you to do a counter against thrust attacks. Again, if it is a sweeping attack, you can jump on top of their head. Later, there's going to be some weapon arts that we can perform that allow us to jump into the air too, and then take some swings while we're mid-air. So I tend to recommend, until we have those, though, jump on the enemy's head, and then as you're coming down, you can go ahead and hit twice on the enemy. And jumping on the enemy's head also will typically increase their posture damage as well. So again, the thing to remember about this game is that there is posture damage, and if you get the posture damage all the way up and stagger the enemy, then you'll be able to death blow the enemy without worrying about the actual health bar. Whereas you could also get the health bar down and then death blow the enemy as well. And the enemies in the game usually fall into either one or the other camp as far as which one we need to focus on. But most, I would say, of the really big enemies are going to be posture focused. But with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. I'm going to head over back to the Sculptor's Idol and take a look at some of the skills that we have coming up in the future. So we can basically buy things like Chasing Slice. This is actually going to be an important one to have. In fact, whenever we're using the shurikens or firecrackers, we can actually follow up this attack. In fact, if you had trouble against this particular mini-boss, one of the things that you might do is utilize this to get in an extra hit following the Shinobi Firecracker. It basically allows you to do a chasing slash, and it allows you to cover distance right after using a loaded shuriken, or in this case, a firecracker. You'll see the question mark there too for any of the prosthetic tools that we have yet to obtain. We'll talk more about those whenever we obtain them. Otherwise, though, we can go with the Whirlwind Slash. I tend to like this as my next item. And the way that the Whirlwind Slash works is this is a combat art, and you only have one slot for combat arts. So we'll actually be using Whirlwind Slash for a little while, but generally it's going to be outclassed by other better things. But it is a good thing to use. So you press left bumper and right bumper at the same time. Now, one of the benefits about this one is it gets in basically 2 quick hits, and it doesn't cost spirit emblems, unlike many of the other types of arts that we can get a hold of. So that is one benefit, is that it does do 2 very quick slices. It also is very good for crowd control. I like to use it whenever there's several enemies in a place, though really once we get the Mortal Draw ability, I tend not to use that ability too terribly much. But with that, we can also go ahead and grab Run and Slide. I tend to also like this as a next ability. You can basically run very quickly and then kind of immediately drop into a slide into a crouch. And whenever we head back to the Hirata estate, I'm actually going to be using this, so I'm going to go ahead and buy the Run and Slide. And again, this is kind of the progression of what I would recommend at this phase of the game. So probably go ahead and get the Chasing Slice. I'm sorry, not the Chasing Slice, the Whirlwind Slash and the Running Slide. And then we're probably going to be getting, I would say, the Grappling Hook attack pretty soon too, because I like to use that against Gyobu, who is our next full boss. But that'll be a little while, probably be at the end of the next episode. But until then, thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.